Burke, back in the backs for Meath is a huge building block for Meath from the last day. I thought that they were hit very hard from the half forward line by Wicklow. I think Burke and Menton going back into the half back line is really going to tighten up the Meath defence. And then, as you say, with Newman back in the full forward line again, they have a huge option there. Taking the pressure off Brea full forward. It's going to be a very tricky day for Westmeath's full back line.
Big call from Westmeath, particularly defensively, is bringing back Kieran Martin. He did so much damage from an attacking point of view the last day against Wexford, but number 6 is the position Tom Cribben sees for him.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a worry from my point of view, and I think it's a bit of a worry from Tom. That he's seen he's going by the league performance where Meath cut Westmeath open, very very easily, up in Pork Tulcha. I think that Kieran Martin being a loss to the full forward line, is massive this week. He could have potentially finished again Wexford with 2-2. He finished with 1-2. I thought he was at the heart of most of Westmeath's attacks. I just think that's a big call and maybe something that Westmeath might suffer with on Sunday.
Paddy Holloway's been brought out of the corner. We expect that he's going to pick up Graham Riley at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely another big call from Tom, putting a young inexperienced player on someone like Graham Riley, who has massive experience. O'Reilly's the type of player who really steps up in the big day. If you look at the last couple of years where Meath have faltered in Leinster finals, he's still been, their shining player. But if Paddy can, as I say, refrain from doing too much fouling on Riley and try to limit as much ball that he gets on, it could be a good call from Tom.
Is fouling a problem? Because I remember talking to Tom before, and he said, look, I'd like my forwards maybe to pick up more fouls than my defence. Against Wexford, they left Ling with plenty of chances to kick scores. You wouldn't want to allow that to happen at Croker on Sunday.
Absolutely, I suppose, and that is an element of Westmeath's game where they're faltering at the moment, is that they're picking up a lot of fouls in their half back line and in their full back line and giving away too many scoreable opportunities. I think what Tom needs to sort of do too is try to slow down that half back line for Meath on Sunday. So he will need his forwards to start doing a little bit more tackling, a little bit more fouling to allow players to get back into a defensive position and try to curtail, Meath coming down the middle as they did in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that league game, I suppose, is a bit of a pointer to this. I know Westmeath have improved since then, but, when Meath went for goals, Westmeath struggled.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of naivety more so than anything from Westmeath. Kieran Martin was centre back that night. Really wasn't his fault. He's an attack-minded player. He's very mobile. When he went forward, there was no Westmeath player covering into that centre back position. Players with the experience of Paul Sherry and that who was playing midfield that night, who would normally play centre back or wing back, should have been clever enough to block off that central position for Westmeath, not allowed Meath them opportunities. So maybe that was something that Tom looked at, from the league, and something that he'll tighten up on Sunday.
Big chance given to Lorcan Smith. There were probably a few guys in contention, maybe John Connellan after how he played the last day, but Lorcan has been given the start in the number 13 shirt. Is he likely to start in at right corner forward, or is he likely to drift around a bit, or what's your read?
I think what Tom is doing at the minute, he's looking at Shane Dempsey and John Hesselin as the two-man full forward line, and giving that third man, a small little roam out in front. That's sort of the Callum McCormack role, as we call it at this stage. And with Callum out injured, he gave that role to Kieran Martin the last day. It was very effective. He's obviously given it to Lorcan Smith to do this day. As I say, Lorcan's a very strong player when he gets on the ball, and he's probably looking at Lorcan picking up a ball and trying to run at that full back line for Meath, which I think is a little bit suspect. So, that could be a good call, but, it's whether Lorcan gets on the ball enough to be able to penetrate that full back line is the thing.
Is Ray Connellan a bit lucky maybe in a way that, the last day he let himself down by getting involved off the ball, and he could well have been dropped for this game. Not discounting his talent at all, but just that mentality.
Yeah, definitely, but again, I suppose that comes back to a little bit of inexperience, playing in Cusack Park, home crowd, championship game, you want to give your best, and he was absolutely, from his playing perspective, he was absolutely on fire that day. He got involved in a silly little incident, and he got black carded. Again, that comes down to a little bit of inexperience, probably a little bit more cleverness from the Wexford player who has a little bit more experience, but no doubt that's something that Tom would have spoke to him about over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, and tried to bring him on a little bit and try to give him that little bit more of a self-belief not to get involved in them incidents.
Was looking at the bench for tomorrow as well. You look at the experience. You obviously got Gary Connaughton and Dennis Glennon, who've been around longer than any other player on that panel. You've got Kieran Gavin, former captain of the team, coming back to fitness again. Frank Boyle's been brought back in. Paul Greville's been brought in. There's a lot more experience there than when the team started out early this year.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the foundations of most teams now is that you have 5 to 7 players that you can call on at any stage of the game. I think over the course of the last 2-3 years, Westmeath did really struggle with strength and depth on their bench, but now they seem to have a good balance of what's starting in their first 15 and in their, as I said, their 5 or 7 players to come in from options on the bench. To have someone like Dennis Glennon who really came on and turned on the style the last day too, John Kennellan, they're good subs to have, and I know that when they're calling Sunday, they'll give it all they have.
What would be your feeling then finally on the game on Sunday? Are Westmeath finally going to get a win? Will it be 20-1 by the end of this?
Personally, I think Meath will win by 3 points. That's what I'll call. I just think that Westmeath maybe going a little bit naive instead of sticking to what they've done in the last 2 games. I think Kieran Martin going to centre back is a big call instead of leaving him where he had been playing for the last couple of games. I think Westmeath have sort of set up to try to counteract Meath rather than going and imposing themselves, imposing their own game plan on the game as they did in the last 2 games. So I think Westmeath just gone into their shell a little bit from the management point of view instead of letting them go out and express themselves.